everyone. It's a dose of Dr. Drew.
Hi, Bass Chica. Hi, Flora May. Hi, guys. Toad and a pen. This is an homage to Adam Carolla's book. It's just how we were feeling today, and so it's. We'll let you kind of pile in here before I describe it more. But if you know now, why do you say hi, Julia Toms? I don't know what Tom Cigar. You always open with that one, and I don't know what that's about.
It's your mom's house video.
Oh, it's your mom's house thing. Okay, as usual, I'm not always in on everything. But yeah, the title today was an homage to Adam Carolla's book, "I'm Your Emotional Support Animal," and we felt like toads, so we just combined it to how we're feeling today. My question to everyone, this is just a check-in, and my question is: are other people feeling frustrated and useless? That's how we have found ourselves today, frustrated and useless. And we thought, why don't we check in with people, how people are feeling out there? Maybe we can collectively find some sort of purpose. Anybody else? Anybody else feeling like that? Taking a show of hands. So I'll let you guys, we're still kind of piling in. That is the question for the day. Flora May wants to be our emotional support. We were going to take off today, my friend. Who was that? I can't see who's behind there. Angry and exhausted, lost. Thank you. That's exactly. We're depressed and useless. That's right, everybody. That's how we're all feeling. Trapped. Okay.
Trapped. That's what I feel like.
Susan feels trapped. Moonfox says something that I found profound, which is I'm getting used to that feeling. And last week I found myself feeling a little bit happier, and I thought, I started thinking about the happiness literature. And happiness literature shows essentially that no matter how horrible things are, your happiness scale sort of reverts back to a mean. And I thought, I'm feeling a little happier. And then I thought, I shouldn't feel any happier. Things are horrible. And I should fight against that so I don't accept a situation that is really not acceptable. It's not an acceptable situation right now. And then, of course, then you start feeling frustrated and useless and helpless and all that good stuff. And that's kind of why yesterday I was talking about the learned helplessness. That was sort of adding to my feelings of distress and not wanting to accept the dysfunction or the extreme, the behavior of our leaders that was adding to people's distress. Let's put it that way. Medical experts call for another shutdown. I don't think that's true, Tom Cigar. That looked at the CDC. They never recommended shutdown. Never, never, never. So looked always to the CDC and Dr. Fauci. They've always said masks and social distancing.
I like Tom Cigar.
Adjustment disorder on steroids, right. Do weed, that might help, perhaps. OCD and felt better when we were in lockdown. Oh, that's interesting. So, at the beginning of lockdown, everyone was on the same page. That's the interesting thing. But then, as the health messaging became more distorted and more hypocritical from the public health department, we all started saying, well, what's true here? What's going on? And it's increasingly clear that kind of aggressive lockdown wasn't necessary. But okay, we were in the fog of war at the time. Anyway, it is still today, for some reason, feeling very frustrating. Never had anxiety, Armina says. What's that, Susan?
Andrew's having a good day.
Andrew. I didn't see Andrew.
Feeling good, went fishing today for 7 hours and numbers coming down in Texas.
That's Andrew, our friend Andrew Ashkasvili. Numbers are plateauing in Texas, Florida, and Georgia, the three states that have been, and in California to some extent. These are the states that have been a real concern because they had a sudden spike up and everything. And the death rates are still kind of climbing in all those states, but you can kind of see the beginning of a plateau there too. And we're right at a 2-week lag behind where those states began their plateau, so we would expect to see death rates plateauing right about now. Friday was the highest death rate in California. I said it wasn't sad. I don't know what you're talking about, Kelly. Please always be really specific. If you're going to be critical, I'm happy to adjust my thinking, and I would love to adjust my thinking, frankly. If there's things to be learned, I'm happy to do it. CDC said 12-year-olds are as prone to the virus as adults. Please, Linda, give us the reference on that, because I did not see that. I'd be interested in that. And again, I'd be interested in that, because the American Academy of Pediatrics is still saying junior high school should start opening up. We're being scared to wear masks. Okay. South Dakota, well, I'm sure it's fine. People are getting their COVID test 19 to 20 days after taking the test. I don't know. I got my test back in 3 days. I don't quite know what that is. 4 days. Well, it's because we called on the fourth day. It was probably available on the third day.
A lot of people are saying they're frustrated and anxious. Maybe it's in the air. Me too, for some reason.
That's what my feeling was. Somebody's saying the CDC never said that. This, according to John Zinn. So yeah, I was never aware of the CDC saying anything like that. So somebody's got to always look. Everything that's in the press, you have to go to the primary sources yourself, because if you the press is so distorted and so inaccurate in what they're reporting. You must do your own work. You must go if somebody says something, you got to get the reference for that something. You got to go read it yourself. It's really important. It's really important. If I could teach you nothing else, I'd like you to teach you that. Dr. Fauci said President Trump listened to his recommendation to shut down the U.S. Janet, I wonder if I misspoke about that. Because we remember there was the 2 week interval to suppress the curve, but I don't think that was a shutdown. I don't think that was a total shutdown. As my recollection was, and I may be remembering this wrong, my state shut it down. But if the government eventually did, maybe that's why I wasn't so aware of it, because it was shut down in California. But my recollection was no. The shelter at home and all that stuff, that was all Los Angeles and that was California. Federal government never said anything like that. Federal government said, do the best you can to avoid contact, social distancing, stay home if you can. But I don't remember them shutting things down. Kelly Gallagher, did I hear the 9-year-old that died? Are you talking about a COVID case? I'm certain there are children who have died of COVID. Of course there are. But there are 70 million children in the country. It's really, really very unusual. Correct, John, about working with kids through the epidemic. It's very low risk unless they have underlying conditions. That is absolutely true. I want to stay with the theme. Okay. Kelly Gallagher, if even one child's death is too much, well, then we have to, kids can't ride bikes, kids can't swim, kids can't interact with any kids, because influenza kills kids way more likely than COVID. So Kelly Gallagher, if one child death is too much, we're going to have to put children in a bubble and not let them do anything, because the one child death is too much. Too much. They die of lots of things in addition to COVID, and if one is too much, well, we're going to have to stop. We're going to have to stop everything. That's the insanity of that kind of thinking. They're very likely to die of the flu. Influenza kills children. It's not an uncommon thing. Killing COVID, very unlikely, but it happens. So pay it. I mean, this is the point. You're looking at headlines, and then you're going, oh my God, this is a catastrophe, as opposed to thinking about the context and the risk-reward analysis every time we make a move one way or the other. Yes, you're right, Christiana. Pray for the USA. Zinc seems to be out of the conversation, which I found bizarre. I found that bizarre. Keep hearing Dr. Zelenko is doing good. I DM'd him right now. He had a pulmonary valve replacement. He did not respond to me. Let me just say also, on Wednesday, we're having Tyrus in here with 2 former wrestlers who are running for office, Dan Rodimer from Nevada and Matt Morgan from Florida. Both of whom allegedly are going to try to convince me to run for office. Susan says no. So if it's no from her, it's a no from me.
But they want to persuade you.
Kelly Gallagher, your kids live in a bubble. That will have mental health consequences. You mustn't let them not ride a bike or swim, for sure, and then not roughhouse with other kids, and certainly no sports. So that'll be an interesting parenting experience. So... feather in it. Speaking of feather in it, M. Marino, let me play a little episode from Dr. Drew After Dark. Susan Pinsky. I called her. Tom, Dr. After Dark is usually me and Christina P. And it's a kind of a comedy show. It's After Dark, but Susan Pinsky had made a name for herself on Your Mom's House, and so I just called her. At the whole Your Mom's House operation, you made an impact, and so I called her when Tom and I, just the beginning of our show, I just called her, so Tom could talk to her. No, I called you. I called you.
He said, let's call her.
Yep.
Let's see if everybody can hear this.
All right.
I have to make sure.
We're gonna. She wants to share with you her
Okay,
appearance.
Make sure there's sound. If there's no sound, I'll make sure.
Is there any sound? Can people hear it? I don't hear it.
Hi, Susan.
How are you?
Hey, would you be willing to
That's true,
help,
Danny Brantley. Kids do choke. Very common. You
train
have to not feed them.
Drew in this new endeavor where we have like these,
Do
they're
people
very
hear
light
this?
weights, and you just let the weights hang from the upper portion of his scrotum to basically add some extra hang to his sack.
Maybe
Okie
not.
Bibbin. B12 deficiencies has almost nothing to do with bipolar disorder.
All right. Can anybody hear that?
Did anybody hear that?
I don't know. I don't have earplugs in, so I can't tell. That's funny.
I guess they heard you. What WTF is someone saying? More gaslighting, more fighting. I'm not sure what you're.
Anyways, check out After Dark.
Yeah, check out After Dark. Yeah, people seem to like that.
You're not supposed to talk about the video.
Well, okay. What I was talking about, somebody said B12 is associated with bipolar disorder. B12 is associated with lots of neurological conditions, but primarily combined degeneration. It's a spinal cord problem, not a central nervous system problem. And bipolar disorder is a genetic disorder. It's a genetic disorder. Yeah, and certainly.
Now it's coming through.
What's that?
Now they're responding.
Are they?
He's on delay, so.
Let's see what you guys are up to. That was ridiculous, Monica Ricci is
we'll
saying.
check out
Monica
this
Ricci was not a fan of you on that, Susan.
We have Josh Powder this week.
Yeah, Josh Powder's up now, and Christina P. comes back next week. How about that first pitch? The guy's 80 years old. Fauci's 80 years old. When you're 80, your shoulders don't work right. They don't. Trust me. If I were left-handed, I would have thrown the ball just like that, and I'm not 80. Give the lady a microphone, please.
No,
She doesn't want one. Can you treat bipolar with therapy? It depends, Boo. It is Buddha. It is a highly It's like trying to treat seizure disorders with therapy. I mean, you can teach people to anticipate and see their manias and their delusions and things, but the actual treatment is biological. There are actually EEG research that shows if once you induce this phenomenon, it's sort of an electrochemical phenomenon, you have to suppress it. Yeah. Now, sometimes you can come off the meds, but that's sometimes also dangerous. Let's see. Can lithium cause migraines? Probably. Yeah, sure. And lithium has lots of side effects too. I didn't see the Newsweek article about hydroxychloroquine. Do I think Fed smoker has any offspring? That's a good question. I don't know. Okay, let's see what Janet West is quoting here. This is Dr. Fauci. I think Americans should be more prepared than they're going to have to hunker down significantly more than we as a country are doing. Yes, hunker down, not close everything. Hunker down, do what you can to stay home. They never said shut everything down. That was a state by state thing. They said hunker down. They said wear a mask. They said social distance. Limit your movement. Limit movement does not mean shut everything down. I think Americans should be more prepared. You said that. I just read that. The CDC is going to be through the roof? In what sense, Bootyful? Yes, Benjamin, the dangers of discontinued bipolar meds can't be understated if somebody has particularly bipolar 1. If you have bipolar 1, you stop your meds, it's like being a seizure patient and stopping your seizure medicine. The seizure comes back. It just comes back. Linda's again telling us, back up what they said. I'm telling you, the head of the CDC on Chris Wallace this morning made this comment about 12-year-olds being as likely as adults to get COVID. So somebody needs to fact check that for me. It's the head of the CDC, I think, assume you mean Dr. Redmond, on Chris Wallace's show. So that's a Fox News show, and that'll be interesting to find out. This is, we're all over the place here.
Let's talk about.
Yeah, I'm looking at your things here. I want to get back to frustration and helplessness or hopelessness. Boy. If you're having a Wellbutrin rash, any rash on a medication, the medication should be stopped, really, and talk to your doctor about it. Because rashes are technically allergic, but they also can be a sign of inflammatory action in other organs like the kidneys. And so you want to really be sure you're not causing yourself trouble. PMS and PMDD, interesting. I would guess that I don't know the formal dividing line between just premenstrual syndrome, which is mild, and PMDD, premenstrual dysphoric disorder, in which there's prominent mood symptomatology. I would imagine capacity to function. As with most brain disorders, where we talk about something being clinically relevant is where it affects functioning. And that's that. I'm not doing good, Daniel Marie. That's why I came on the thread this morning. I needed I want to try to get some collective something here going where we're all sort of sharing our frustration, but coming up with some sort of collective action. Because, well, Brandon, that's not what I'm frustrated about. I'm frustrated by everything that's going on in this country. I'm frustrated by the press. I'm frustrated by the COVID. And it's hopelessness, helplessness, and frustration is sort of setting in. And Mom got hooked on Xanax. Wait, hold on a second. This was Tales from the Midwest. She quit cold turkey 2 months ago, is having terrible withdrawals. Is there anything she can do to help see with the recovery? Yes, absolutely. Phenobarbital, Neurontin, and some of the serotonin reuptake inhibitors can be helpful. She should see a doctor that knows how to treat Xanax withdrawal. Good news about Xanax is the withdrawal is about 3-4 months. If it's Klonopin, it's like a year. Look what happened to Jordan Peterson. He's still recovering. I think he's still in a hospital. So again, TV vacation. Maybe that's a good suggestion. Get to them and wake them up. Anthony says, I can't get to them. They'll have nothing to do with me. We're talking about Garcetti and Newsom because I'm critical of some of their stuff. They are not people. They think what they are doing is so holy that it defies criticism. So in the meantime, people are dying all over the place, and they're literally fiddling as Rome burns. People are dying. They don't seem to. They can't change course. They can't adjust. I think if there's anything else, we talk about today, I'm talking about feedback and changing course. Let people give you feedback. Take the feedback. Don't have cognitive dissonance. Cognitive dissonance is, we talked about this yesterday, where you sort of go, wait, that doesn't sound right to me. And it's your brain trying to maintain your ideology and worldview and push away some information that challenges that. Instead, take it in. Adjust your worldview. Adjust everything. Yes, I saw that Steve Voik, Peterson did a podcast with his daughter, but it was about his horrible experience. And it didn't have to have been that bad, by the way. He had developed what's a withdrawal akathisia, it's called, or akathisia, which is a horrible syndrome, not all that uncommon with certain kinds of benzo withdrawal. Yeah, they shut your gym down, Jason. And gyms and bars, I'm kind of sympathetic to. They seem like reasonably regions that might cause a problem. But everything else, I don't think has any scientific basis to it. In fact, the evidence, when you talk about science, you need evidence. The evidence is that things like salons and nail salons do not transmit. There's actually good evidence for that. When it comes to health messaging needs to be... Did you guys see Chad Kroger's? I think I mentioned this yesterday. Can we play that by any chance? Their mask, giving people masks. The Chad Kroger video about mask handout.
I don't have it on this one.
You could probably just download it off the internet.
Try.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to play this for you because I think
Play it at the end.
Okay.
It's kind of long.
It's kind of long. It's about 3 minutes. To me, it's the best. Well, but we can get people to react to it. It's the best.
Just talk.
It's the best health messaging I've seen thus far in this campaign. They're going around and they're in this campaign, meaning in this epidemic. They're going around and handing out masks and looking at how silly people that refuse them are, what their thinking is, how distorted it is. Again, cognitive dissonance, and that's how you make a health message. You have a relatable source. These two guys are funny and relatable. You have a narrative. Hey, we're giving out masks. And then you have some sort of... Chad goes deep. And then there's a message in the narrative, and it's got done with humor. This is how you do it. This was my original notion with Loveline. Oh, here he is.
Okay, hold on.
Way back in the day, which was Adam is funny. Adam's the hamburger and I'm the pill, and you get to take the message that way. And all health messaging is the same way. And LA County is spending millions of dollars on health messaging that are clearly don't know what they're doing. Because not only are they not helping the leaders hone their messaging, they're not giving any alternatives.
54,000 views. Okay, ready?
Okay, we're gonna now. This is two guys, improvisation comedians, obviously, who decided.
Oh, they're the real thing.
Oh, they're the real thing. Chad and JT are buddies of mine. Chad is the Stoke Lord. Chad is Stoke Lord, and JT is. JT, we interview. You can read the interview, play the interview, or play the actual tape. This is the actual.
This is the YouTube.
Giving the mask away. Okay, here we go. Yes. There.
Audio's not working.
No sound. Okay, that's actually the wrong. That's not the right interview. That's our interview. That's not the actual tape.
Oh, it is?
Yeah,
That's
that's
cute.
that's fine. You can do that, but no
Okay,
sound.
Let me see. Wait, let me
Want to try it? Should we try it again? Again, I am trying to find ways to limit to relieve frustration and helplessness. That's my. We're gonna get you. We're gonna get it. They're not hearing me either now. It seems. So okay, hold on. You got me back?
I think so.
Am I back now? I was saying that
It didn't, the sound didn't come out?
no, not for anybody else.
Let me see.
Can you hear me though now? Let me before I keep talking.
Yeah, so they can hear.
All right. So what was I saying? I completely lost my train of thought. But these guys again can. I know what I was going to say, which is I'm just looking for a way today to collectively like relieve frustration and not even relieve anxiety because that's sort of unrealistic, but to create some sort of collective something. What is the 10 milligram, Drew, Tom Cigar? I don't quite know what that means.
See, I haven't done it on this laptop, so it's like.
She's still working on it. This is a
new technology.
yeah. This is new. This is a new environment for us to try to attempt this. Feeling exhausted, Senny K. I'm with you. Terry Andrews, who's ignoring you? Now
Okay, let's see if
all right. Let's see if you hear this one. 10 milligram weed.
Sorry.
All I hear is feedback of our voice a few seconds later. That's all I'm
Okay,
hearing now.
That means that. Oh no, that's the wrong one. Sorry. Party Brothers.
We're getting there.
Let's just play it, see if I can get the sound.
Okay, she's
It
gonna.
may echo, but
It's
I can fix that.
extremely scratchy in this end.
Oh,
it's-
it went to the next one. Okay, can you hear it? Hear your voice?
Well, here, you're not gonna like it.
Yeah, that's weird. I don't know. Forget it. I have to figure it out.
George, I didn't call you stupid. Am I back on?
Yeah.
I didn't call you stupid. I said 80% side effects. Check your facts. That's just not true. It's not true. I've spoken to the researchers. Now.
This. Think.
Test 1 2.
Yeah.
Am I back now?
Screw it.
All right. We tried it. We tried it.
Next time.
We tried it. Next time. They still say I'm gone, but let's see if it catches up.
It will. It's just delayed.
All right, we tried. We're trying. We don't have the fancy equipment here, so it's. Thank you. I'm back. So it's hard. They're blaming you, Susan, for all that technical problems. She was trying something different. Give her a break. Go look at the video yourself. What's the link for the video? But hey, Susan, put the link in here on the thread.
Chad goes deep. Dr. Drew.
Okay, Chad goes deep. Dr. Drew. Just look at that video and that interview. You'll see what we're talking about. Uh, uh, uh. So,
I have to figure out how it works, but
yeah.
it's frustrating.
Okay. So, Kago Tube, like the interview with Dr. Yo, which is still up, and it's an interview about the breakthroughs, some of the theoretical ideas around treatment for COVID. And he's saying, please talk to Dr. Bruce Patterson, which is another thing we've been asked to do. So we will try to get a hold of him. Andrew, I've seen an article where somebody is reported to have had that positive test. It was a local newspaper article, and they said that they got a positive result after not getting the test. So it appears that it has happened, but the idea that everybody knows somebody to whom it has happened is grossly overstated. So again, testing are not perfect. Testing is going to have problems, and this is just another example of that. It's just the way it is. Medical systems are not perfect. We'd like them to be, but they're not. Suzanne, I'm glad I came on today too. Is this about COVID or anarchy or both? Carol Ann, for me, it's about both. It's just, well, maybe it's about neither. It's about what the press is upsetting and reporting about it. And we were planning to do some travel, and we found it to be extremely cumbersome, and that's what started our feelings of frustration and helplessness. And it's just,
For business.
when you start, yeah, it was business travel and it was safe travel and whatnot. But when you start sort of trying to live your life, it's very you find you can't live your life, and that's. Terry Andrews, Warren, you keep saying I'm skipping over you, and I keep telling you, hey, give me your question. So I'm obviously not skipping over you because twice I've pointed you out to please give me your question.
That's true. Cut off all social media.
Oral thermometers, rectal thermometers are obviously different in terms of what they do, but the temperature is slightly different one versus the other. Patty, please be very specific about what the problem is, and I'll be happy to address it. Exactly what has caused you to lose respect, and I'll be happy to talk about it. Is it true that asymptomatic people cannot spread the virus? That is not true. Clearly, asymptomatic people are spreading the virus. That's nice, Jason. That's very cool. I'm still looking for, what was that woman's name? Terry something? She's not. All she goes on is says, I'm missing her, and then won't give me the actual question of whatever it is.
Chat.
What kind of treatment do they give a bipolar disorder in a 9-year-old? Kelly, I would be. You need a real serious. You need a serious expert to do that. You need a child psychiatrist, and whether there needs to be any medication or not is something open to conversation. My mom has been a grade school teacher for 20 years. She's approaching 60. Has issues with new tech in the classroom. Advice her how to cope or grasp the new info easily. Unfortunately, a 6-year-old brain, which I own, is really. Thank you, Matt G. We have difficulty shifting procedural gears. I was talking to a guy in his 70s just a couple of days ago who was saying he's a technical guy. He was like a sound guy in a television studio. And he went away for a month, and he said when he came back, he had trouble procedurally getting things back again. And I've noticed, we lose two things in your brain as you hit 60s and 70s. You lose kind of procedural skill. It's like trying to learn the piano again. At 60, it's hard. And computer skills are very, very similar to that. I take benzos, and I'm afraid to. Well, there goes Terry. She just finally asked her question. It just slipped off screen. Hang on, I just got to make sure I get it. Shoot.
Terry?
Okay, I'll answer it in a second. So back to who was the Sam. So mom it's just going to be more difficult. It just is, and maybe she can appeal to whomever is asking her to do this. Appeal to switch gears, and and I would argue that sometimes it's not so bad to resist some of it a little bit and use some of your older techniques that are sort of been so tried and true for you. And to the other extent, get a coach. Get a coach, and then realize it's like trying to learn the piano or any other procedure. You'll get it's. I have found at 60 it's a little cumbersome, but once you start, you'll get it. You'll get it. Okay, so Terry wants to know if she's gonna have a seizure for dropping benzodiazepines. People can have seizure from dropping benzodiazepines, but usually not from very low dose. If you're on Neurontin, if you're on Depakote, if you're on phenobarbital, which is what we use to treat benzodiazepine withdrawal, you will not have seizure on those medications typically. Terry, 4 milligrams of clonazepam, you should not be stopping cold turkey. That's a lot. That's a lot. And it may take 2 weeks before you feel the full brunt of the withdrawal. So I would urge you not to go cold turkey off 4 milligrams of clonazepam, and to talk to your doctor and get in the hands of somebody who knows how to do an outpatient management on clonazepam withdrawal. They probably will start you on a slow taper, which you don't have to do, but it's one way of doing it. And if you develop increasing withdrawals during the taper, see if they can get you in the hands of somebody that knows how to do a more rapid kind of withdrawal from that. Because again, this is exactly what Jordan Peterson got involved with, and it ended up in a catastrophe. He had akathisia and severe withdrawal and everything. And seizure is definitely one of those things that can happen. It's a very serious thing.
See the guy that said, I watched horrors last night and I realized I am one.
Ooh, isn't that something? You heard somebody watch Hoarders last night and they realized they are one. That's a common thing. Hoarding is very common. It gets worse as you get older. And sometimes it has a real neurological basis to it too. What about 1 milligram of clonazepam? If Jill, on 1 milligram, I would urge you to taper down to a half and then to a quarter, and then have somebody manage you as you go and do that like every 2 weeks. I'm not telling you what to do. This is how I would manage a case like that. And then when you get down to, if you can tolerate getting down to 0.25, then we use a couple other medications to get you all the way off.
Did you see Susie Peck?
Susie Peck?
Yeah.
What did she say?
Love you, Dr. Drew. Your wife sharing with me. Haha. Seriously, do you see the mess this country is in going on for years? I do personally. I think life as we knew it prior to COVID is gone forever. Your thoughts?
So I'm choking on it because it's such a profound thing to say. Carol Ann, trazodone can be used, but it's not the primary drug for benzodiazepine withdrawal. It can help with the sleep sometimes. She said, "Do we think we're in this? Let's all answer this. Are we in this mess for good now? Is this country never going to be the same?" I think things are going to be different, but sometimes shaking things up like this, things end up better. And because I'm a crazy optimist, I keep believing. I can see certain. The pendulums do tend to swing, and we just have to really get back to some sort of common ground where we're all rowing in the same direction. And it's just so unpleasant in the meantime. It's kind of like what?
It changes your life.
Yeah. I thought you said, Susan said, no, it changes your life. And, yeah. And yes, Alex, thank you for watching the Midnight Gospel. That was really fun to do that. Here's somebody has a question. Any ideas what might cause 106-degree fever and endocarditis? Oh my God, in a 15-year-old boy. Endocarditis is a infection on the heart valve. And if it's truly endocarditis and not myocarditis, then that's where the fever came from. The question is, how did he develop the endocarditis, which is sort of a rare thing in his age group, unless he had a bicuspid aortic valve or something like that from birth. Please tell me more, Boss Chica. That is a very scary situation. No COVID, flu, nor meningitis, which are common things that cause the very high fevers in that age group. But I'm mystified by the endocarditis label because that's a diagnosis, and that would have caused the whole thing. And if he has fever and myocarditis, meaning the muscles inflamed and not working right, that still is some kind of a virus typically. Oh my gosh, Kelly, you had myocarditis when you were 2. That's a big deal. Is your heart regained its function? At 2, usually it does. Sean, you and Misty, thank you for giving us a plug there. We appreciate that. How do you think the flu season will be handled this year? Well, Natalie, we have half the number of deaths from flu as we do from COVID. This is in LA County where I know the data. So twice the number of deaths, but flu still, if you add them together, it's again 3 times. That's the COVID is only 2/3 of the story. The flu is another third of deaths from viral illnesses this year. And my hope is that people will really get out there and get their flu vaccines this year. Maybe give them some religion about that. Is a Whipple surgery safe? Well, it's a major surgery, Mary, but the COVID shouldn't enter into whether or not you do that.
I just blocked somebody named Tits. I didn't mean that.
You blocked them?
And then you talked about nipple surgery.
Fauci is right. It's going to be based on a fact presented here at the
Had nothing to do
time.
with that, though.
Okay. Basticha, I know he has congenital heart issue, so that's the valve problem. It's my niece's boyfriend, may have myocarditis. I think my mom said tissue around the heart. That's pericarditis usually. So again, congenital, you're talking about a very, very complex medical syndrome there with 106 fever, pericarditis, myocarditis, maybe a valvular problem, some sort of congenital heart defect. So it's going to have something to do with that congenital issue, I'm sure. Jake, we're not going to see the house tour, I'm afraid, because Robert Paul Champagne has asked us not to show it. And so that seems like a reasonable request to me. Sorry about that, guys. I can't share it with you. Rojoy, I'm not sure about that. Would I debate Alex Berenson on the mask wearing issue? Sure, I would. I mean, Alex is really a important voice out there, just challenging the data. That's what the good science works. You just keep challenging the data. And Alex has been an important voice out there. How can a drug company make profit on taxpayer-funded vaccine? Beautiful. They have agreed to have a non-profit distribution for this year. I don't know about future years, but my understanding is that they took the money from the government and will do this for the good of society and not have a profit off the vaccines this year. Myocarditis does not mean a large heart. Myocarditis means inflammation of the heart muscle. Cardiomyopathy is an enlarged heart. Okay. Any good sight to the anti?
Thank you, Tales from the Midwest.
Thank you, Tales from the Midwest. We appreciate that. I'm trying to get you guys back on the idea that how we're feeling and wondering if you're feeling the same. Yeah, and maybe you guys are in better mood than we are. And I'm looking for ways to. You asked me if I think the world is going to, the country is, different forever, and I don't think so. But I don't know what it's going to take to get back to some sort of homeostasis where things are healthy again. Mary, people with diabetes are more susceptible because they don't have normal immune function. Mostly diabetics. Brandon, I know it's hard. You're 8.5 years sober. Wow, you're in South Africa. Oof, man, I don't know how you get the support down there, but when you start, it's a chronic disease, as you know, and when you start struggling, double down on everything: your peer support, your meeting attendance, your step work, and maybe get a doctor out down there that can help you with this. There may be other things going on, like a mood disturbance or something like that, that they help you, your sobriety can continue to be possible. Fauci also said that reopening states too soon could cause more suffering and death, and that would almost turn the clock back rather than going forward. Janet, that's just true. That's true. And what we're trying to do is navigate between too much shutdown and too little shutdown, and trying to be able to have some sort of functioning economy and not causing massive mental health issues or massive economic issues, and try to deal with the virus at the same time. Thank you, Christopher. I appreciate it. Maybe that's the issue. Maybe prayers are the way to think about all this. Is coronavirus worse for juvenile rheumatoid arthritis? Probably, because you're probably on an immunosuppressive for that. When should you see a professional for anxiety? When you're sufficiently distressed, when it really bothers you, or you have trouble functioning. Feel great, you said. Wait. What'd you say? Because I'm interacting with people at my job. Good. It wasn't at work with the public. It's emotionally crashing. I'd be emotionally crashing. Right. Humans need, this is an old Freud saying, but it's absolutely true. Human needs work, love, play. That's what humans need. They need it, or we get sick emotionally. And if you take those things away from us, can a second wave be avoided? Well, we're already in a second wave, Beautiful, technically. I mean, really what they were worried about was the virus goes away completely and then comes zooming back even worse than before. Clearly, that's not going to happen. And Dr. Charles Murray, who does the COVID-19.healthdata.org, told me that he felt it was better if the virus kind of stayed that we existed with the virus, that's a better situation because it makes it less likely it's going to spiral out of control. In other words, how we're managing it now sort of suggests how we're going to manage it in the future, right? We're kind of keeping it under control. We're doing what we need to do, and it will kind of stay in a trading pattern, so to speak. Am I hanging out with friends? Maybe not enough. Maybe that's part of the deal. I don't know what you're asking about the tricorn news. I did not see that. Oh, that's really funny, Jason. That's very funny. He's reporting. He's reporting something we recorded from Loveline many, many years ago. How could the virus spread all over the world at the same time? That's what a pandemic is. That defines a pandemic. It's just a virus that is everywhere. Pandemic doesn't even mean bad virus. It doesn't mean severe virus. It doesn't mean death. It means widespread virus. Should we go back to school? I would say follow the advice of the American Pediatric Association and the CDC, both of whom have come down very strongly in face of going in behalf of going to school, which is why I would love that data about whatever it was Dr. Redmond said on Chris Wallace about 12-year-olds. I need to see that data because that does not fit the prevailing wisdom. Will I be taking the vaccine in the trial, Mom to Mateo? I'm trying to. I'm signed up. I'm signed up for 2 trials, and they've not gotten back to me. I don't know if they're going to get me or not. I can't get the vaccine fast enough as far as I'm concerned. I will be pissed if I get the placebo limb. I am not taking the vaccine yet, Mom. I'm trying to get it. Without a vaccine and or strong therapeutics, are we just prolonging the inevitable? Todd, well, the inevitable, if we did not, which we are already seeing significant improvement in therapeutics, and the vaccine, again, I've spoken to the researchers, you're going to hear about that in the fall for sure. But so it's a hypothetical question. We would just have more of the same. We would just be like this, until we got to herd immunity. And that could take a long time. Asthma, Kelly, is on the concern list. They put it on late in the outbreak, but they did put it there as one of the risk factors. Mom to Mateo feels like she's on the verge of a nervous breakdown. I'm not on the verge of a nervous breakdown. I'm just feeling, like frustrated, like super frustrated. Can I speak to Jordan Peterson's recovery from benzodiazepines? I will just say it was grossly mismanaged. I would have managed it totally differently. The idea of a rapid detox from benzodiazepines, don't anybody consider that. It's a terrible thing. I've seen catastrophes from that. The fact that he went to Russia to get a rapid detox, I understand why he did that, but it's a disaster. And he developed an akathisia, which is a terrible complication of benzodiazepine withdrawal, but there are ways to treat that. I've treated it many times. He didn't need to have the catastrophe he had. The real catastrophe happened because of the rapid detox where he developed pneumonia and all this nonsense, and even a brain injury. So they got poor guy. Well, B world, we have each other. I don't know. We have each other right here, right now. Joe Rogan says vitamin D has a big impact on health. That's absolutely true. I take about 5,000 units a day of vitamin D, and if you want to have your check your doctor, check your levels of vitamin D, that's sometimes a good thing to do as well. What do I think about Pasadena managing COVID? Tara, I've not been aware of Pasadena's. In other words, I think it's been pretty good because Pasadena has been not on anybody's case and they've been trying to function. But they've been at the whim of the state and the county. How do you treat akathisia? It depends on the cause of the akathisia. What I would have done with him is I would have loaded him up on. First of all, you need a 24-hour nursing. You need like a hospital, and I can't say it exactly because I didn't evaluate him, but typically what I do with this kind of thing is I use large doses of gabapentin, large doses of phenobarbital, and use some sort of anti-seizure, anti-epileptic medicine like Depakote. Then we add on to that other things. I've even used Geodon in situations like that. And it usually you can get it under control, and then you kind of roll things back, and it goes pretty well. It takes a few weeks. JFK debated Alan Dershowitz about vaccine. Interesting. I know Dershowitz is sort of universalist. He kind of feels like everyone has to protect one another, therefore we all should take the vaccine. Oh my God. Okay. Susie Peck. Susan, you're going to love this. Dr. Drew, look on the bright side. 90 Day Fiance is on tonight. It's Sunday. and the Pillow Talk. Susie, I appreciate that sentiment, but I actually feel worse that actually entices me. Like this is what my life is about now, is watching 90 Day Fiancé. This is not a good sign. That's what I was talking about. Don't accept the status quo. The status quo is not good right now. And let's
Somebody's
see.
got it worse than us.
16-year-old having anxiety attacks because of COVID. She has slight asthma, so freaked out about school plus everything else. 8 to 15-year-olds particularly, but I can see we're 16, 17-year-old as well, are having a terrible time with this. Please reassure them. Maybe get her a psychologist. This is life-changing shit for this age group that your government is ignoring completely and making it as bad as possible by advancing and then withdrawing. That's the worst thing you could do. So I'm very, very concerned about that. So please get her some help with that. Gardening, Andrew, I don't think would work for me, but maybe you're onto something because running does help me. 400 milligrams of D3. Laura, what you want to do is get your levels up. Talk to your doctor about it. Obviously, for your bone density, immune function, there's some anti-cancer research out there. And I have prostate cancer, and vitamin D has been shown to reduce the risk of metastatic disease. So there you go. Nicole, you love 90 Day Fiance. Lisa's laughing at us. Yes, this is not an okay situation.
Okay.
This is not okay. That what makes my Sunday night more tolerable is that I can look forward to 90 Day Fiance. That's horrible. That's awful. That is awful. We shouldn't, and it's true. And so we should be fighting against that because our lives have become so meaningless, locked down, and would not be able to leave our morning. I knew you guys would come up with something that would sort of hit the target, and that to me is the symbol of what's wrong with today. So I'm sorry, I got away. You guys wanted me to talk about T cells.
Shows in the can though.
Yeah, Mom to Mateo. It's trash, but I'm looking forward to it. It's making my evening so bad. What has happened to my life? That's the symptom. It's a symptom of what's going on here. Why is it that Susan gets all of my memes, but not me? Because I'm sort of not good at that kind of thing.
Knows your number.
So T cells, again, the T cells are what direct the B cells. Let's sort of think about it this way, and there also are, killer T cells. We basically break down our lymphatic system into T cells and B cells, and B cells produce the antibodies that you keep hearing all about. But the T cells may be a more important part of the story, and I'm trying to get involved with a group that's looking at those T cells and trying to measure your T cell readiness to direct the B cells to produce an immune response. So all this, again, headlines about the immunoglobulin levels dropping after 2 weeks may be irrelevant. Now, it doesn't make us feel secure about your immunity, but it may be irrelevant if we can prove that the T cells are standing ready to create an army of B cells. So we'll see. The PewDiePie reviews of 90 Day Fiancé is epic. Maybe, Susan, that's what we ought to do. We ought to do 90 Day Fiancé. We ought to do our own pillow talk. That's really a very good idea. So maybe tonight we ought to go on this thread. And when the 90 Day Fiancé is on, we should do our own pillow talk. You guys up for that?
Not tonight.
Why not?
No.
Why not tonight?
Because we have to drive.
I know we'll be home before. It's not like at 10 o'clock at night, I think, isn't it? Yeah. Or is that the ultimate capitulation to how disgusting things have become? Please don't, they're saying. Please don't. Oh, no, yes. Oh, no, there's a lot of yes now all of a sudden. Well, I mean, think about it. We would just set up a camera, and it would be like PewDiePie. We would just be doing a real-time.
Who's we?
You and me in bed, like the pillow top thing. Or if you want to be like the two ladies eating food, we can sit and eat food. And we will just watch this and interact with you guys. We'll get up on the chat and see what's going on. Oh, jeans, yes. They're saying jeans, yes. Even people that are skeptical saying it could be.
Give me some time, okay?
Could be interesting. Yeah, Alyssa, I love Shameless because that's so accurate. Those characters are so accurate. That's one of the things I like about Shameless. It would be constructive. Oh, nah, I don't see any point in trying to persuade Alex Jones. He's in his own, thing.
A lot of questions.
You watched 90 Day Fiancé before COVID? We most certainly did not. We had a life before COVID, so we did not watch 90 Day Fiancé. Oh my God, it's such a bad sign. It's a terrible sign. Oh my God, yeah, I know we had to roll back to previous seasons and have to figure everybody out. Who are your favorites, just so I can know? Yeah, the pillow talk thing, Alice, is what we're talking about doing ourselves.
I love that.
Everybody like Ed, and his you got to remember, well, Monica Ricci, you hated the characters on Shameless because they're horrible people, but it's very accurate, very, very accurate for people with those kinds of psychopathologies, how they behave. Could lecithin stop excess clotting? That kind of thing, Randy, is being discussed. Lecithin is a not specific enough. It's really more targeted stuff at the cytokine system. Burning pain in my abdomen during deadlifts. You probably just ripped a muscle there, but the hernia you would see. Hernia is actually bowel sticking through an abdominal wall or abdominal muscle. Let's see. So you guys aren't telling me who your favorite 90 Day Fiance characters are, so I can learn from you and keep an eye out for that. But to your point, laughing may be one of the answers here, and unfortunately, comedians are being so badly suppressed that it's hard to you can't go out to comedy clubs. That's for sure. Andrew, Mark Meadows hopes to report new breakthrough-approved therapies in coming days. Maybe Laurent Larab. Andrew Ashkashvili. Mark, who is Mark Meadows, number one? And number two, I thought the Laurent Larab stuff was coming out last week, and it did not come. Tomorrow we have Jay Moore in here, so join us for that. That'll be like 3 o'clock Pacific time.
He's funny.
He's very funny, yeah.
One of the funniest
More Dave Chappelle, I agree with that, Natalie. I think Dave is a unifier. Dave can help us hang together, I'd say. Chief of Staff of what, Andrew Ashkashvili? You guys still aren't telling me who your favorite characters are on 90 Day Fiance. I still want to know. Or Pillow Talk. And by the way, we're not, all the ones on Pillow Talk, we don't understand why they're on Pillow Talk because we haven't gone back far enough to hear their stories.
The ones that were on 90 Day Fiance.
No, they all were on 90 Day Fiance. Yeah.
But then
And
they broke up or whatever.
I don't know. I don't know the stories. So
Pregnant.
I don't know.
Cute. It's like the people's couch.
It's like the people's couch. Does prednisone help with COVID or make it worse? Christopher, that is a massively complicated. Colty and Larissa, they like. Blech. That is a massively complicated question. So we know dexamethasone exists. Dexamethasone originally was approved for advanced disease because it was showing improved outcome. Now it's approved for anybody with respiratory symptoms requiring hospitalization. So shortness of breath, bad cough, needing a ventilator, all those people now will get dexamethasone. I had used solumedrol earlier and prednisone in some people's when I treat COVID, and I'm convinced it was working. So the question is, which steroid, which patient, when? And we don't have the research to really know that yet. We're still doing that a bit by the seat of our pants. But it's clearly that steroids have a role to play here. The concern is that if you give it too early, you're going to suppress the good immune response that allows people to fight virus. My suspicion is that people that are at risk, that have these very active cascade responses, already have some issue with the immune response, and so would benefit universally from steroids of some type. Colt and his mama, also a favorite.
See the toenail problem?
No, I did not see the toenail
Toenail
problem.
is a little bit infected after toenail removal. Would hot salt water help?
Yes,
or
if-
secret prescription?
Okay, if toenail is a little infected after a toenail removal, first of all, you should notify the doctor that did the removal. Secondly, hot water, just heat, hot is very useful. The salt, yes or no, doesn't really matter, or Epsom salt, that kind of thing. But if it's hot to touch, or if the redness is extending up your foot, or if it's really swollen, yes, you need to talk to the doctor right away about getting on an antibiotic. Okay.
You're gonna die.
Dexamethasone and physical therapy. How is that working in the respiratory issues? Nancy, dexamethasone is a very powerful steroid. It's used for vocal cord issues. It's used for rashes. It's used for asthma. It's used for a lot of things. Been used forever. It's an old medication. It's just a general immune suppressant. Thank you, Randy Holt. Let's see. Mark Meadows, the chief of staff for President Trump. Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, he's changed chief of staffs, Andrew, so many times I can't keep track of who it is. Does budesonide help COVID? I don't trust that story. I just don't. It's not been substantiated. Pregnant A positive blood and MS. Oh, honey. And I'm assuming you're off all your MS medicines, Malti Gonzalez. Quarantine yourself. Be careful. Don't get exposed. Remember, 90+% of transmission occurs in the home. So make sure your home is stuff's not being brought into the home. This is where it transmits, is in the home. Yes. Okay. Eric Anderson asking a very complicated question. Can I talk about the culture of nihilism as it relates to working with millennials in addiction and mental health? This is a thing that Bob Forrest and I have been talking about for years, that we can't seem to get millennials. They seem to use drugs it's almost a different syndrome of addiction than we used to see back in the day. There was sort of a culture of addiction and sort of I don't know, there was something different about it back in the day. And now it comes out of complete apathy and helplessness, where you're literally trying to inspire the patients to get better and saying, "Come on, man, what do you want to do? What do you want to do with your life?" And their response, do you want to stay on your mom's couch the rest of your life here? And their response always is, "I don't know. What do you want me to do? What do I want you to do?" So trying to get them to have spontaneity, to engage in the world and to have a connection to their spontaneous emotions, and to be inspired. This is all stuff that they've lost somehow. I don't know where it was lost or why it is so pervasive in the millennial patients, but I completely agree with you that it is a massive, massive problem. We've had some benefit, believe it or not, paying patients. There's a doctor out of Harvard. I did a whole stream or podcast. Susan, what was that guy's name?
What?
We did an Ask Dr. Drew, or a full dose with that guy from Harvard who was paying patients. Remember that? He streamed in. Anyway, there's a Harvard physician in addiction medicine is paying patients to good effect to keep them in treatment, and then novel kinds of electronic medium. If you can find electronic ways of engaging them, interestingly, they seem to be relating to the Zoom meetings that are out there. O blood is an advantage. A is a disadvantage. This is all based on a New England Journal article from about 3 weeks ago. Homelessness addicts in Sacramento, Carolyn. It's a insane problem that could easily be managed. No problem. It's just the will of our leaders is lacking, and they don't care that people are dying hand over fist. They don't care. They are. Let's see. What are you watching on the VH1 TV app, Caitlin? I don't know what that. Thank you, Strong. I got my hair cut short again. I got tired of the COVID hair. Season 1 of the 90 Day Fiance is least dysfunctional and most enjoyable. Mike and Aziza, is she the one that's pregnant right now? And he's an African-American gentleman. Is that who Mike and Aziza are? Let me know, Brian, because we do like that couple that's on the Pillow Talk. Let me ask this. Is there a need for a more spiritual component to our lives? Is that what's missing? Could that? It sounds kind of crazy and simplistic, but that is for sure something that I would be open to thinking about. It seems like some meaningfulness is part of what's lost. Engagement, meaningfulness, purpose, all that seems to be just out the window for a lot of people. And the new religion is social justice warrioring, and that seems to be filled with distortions and cognitive dissonance and lack of reasoning and lack of discourse, and that is not what a spiritual program would want us to practice. Thank you, Caitlin. She's watching Celebrity Rehab on VH1 app. Susan, did you know that?
Yep.
That you can watch Celebrity Rehab on the VH1 app? You knew that?
Maybe. I think YouTube has it.
I did not know that. How does Celebrity Rehab age? How does it seem? Okay, we could do Celebrity. Oh, yeah, Deborah. Susan says the same thing, that we should be on Celebrity Watch Party. Any producers out there, we're up for it, because she wants to do it big time. Oh my goodness, Dustin, your friend stopped eating for fear of infected food. Fear of infected food is a delusion. Okay, so that's somebody who's in trouble. Don't buy into people's stinking thinking. Sometimes it's actually a brain problem. And if you have fear of food to the point that you can't eat, that's a delusion. And people can get very, very ill from that. Thank you for the prayers, Ashley. That may be all that we could do. Sherry, tell me what the problems are with the 8-year-old and social distancing. Oh my goodness, 10-year-old with a atrial septal defect repair at 3. Just being connected to myself, nature, something spiritual. Good, I like that. Artie Lang has disappeared. Bootyful, I've heard that a couple days ago. That's never a good sign with Artie. So let's pray for Artie for sure. If I had kids in elementary school with plasma, I'm not sure what you're asking about the plasma, Mary. Oh no, it's a different question. If I had kids in elementary school, would I send them back to school in person? Categorically, I would. I would follow the direction of the American Academy of Pediatrics, American Pediatric Association. Will there be cuts to mental health with budget shortfalls? It depends if the federal government makes the budgets whole or not. I'm actually fearful they will make the budgets whole because the states will then never learn fiscal responsibility. But I guess we just sort of have to. Hang on, guys. Could you have Bob and Shelley on to talk about coping? Sure. Susie, you want to do that?
Sure.
Bob and or Shelley, or both one at a different. One at a time. We'll do. Okay. It's sad seeing all the patients who are now passed. Caitlin, for sure. This started off helping people with plasma. Is that too hard or doesn't it work? Mary Henderson. No. Convalescent plasma is being advocated strongly. Steve-O, from Jackass. I helped him. He turned out with a positive antibody test, so he went and gave, I think 4 times, plasma for convalescent plasma. We all should be giving blood and plasma. Listen, there is a blood shortage in all this mess. There's not a food shortage. There's a blood shortage. And if you have had the virus, please give convalescent plasma. It really works. How long do I think the COVID outbreak will last? I guess like January until we get a vaccine. I guess that's what we're looking at here. Talk more about the blood types again. It's Allison. It's just that there was a study on 6 genes, some chromosomal findings in the people that were having trouble with COVID. 6 specific genes associated with a certain kind of immune response. It turns out they also overlap with blood type, where type O had a little more resistance to getting the infection, and type A had more likelihood of getting the infection. I don't think I've ever had the HPV vaccine. Can I still get it at 41? Talk to your doctor, Senny K. I would give it to you. If you were my patient, I think an enlightened physician would give it to you if you're sexually active out there. Meditate, Margaret is saying. Benjamin, is it true that 99% are mild cases? No, not 99%. It's true that 99% of people recover and there's true also that 80,000 of the people that have recovered are seeing now these post-viral syndromes, these neurasthenias and fatigue and all these unpleasant phenomenon. So it sometimes lags on for months or even years, very rarely. How is the risk of pulmonary fibrosis? Jill, that's if you have bad lung infection, there's some degree of scarring. The question is how much pulmonary fibrosis. And it's rare to have it, profound fibrosis from it, I would say. My friend's parents visited from India in February. They're still stuck. Wow. What about negative versus positive? That doesn't matter. It's strictly the ASO titers, the major, not ASO titers, the major, A, B, O blood types. Even with the vaccine, we'll have quite a while to distribute. Todd, you may be true, but I've heard the federal government say they're going to bring the Army in to distribute it, so it could be done in fairly short order. Aaron Lest, why do I let Adam bully me? Because that is the basic that's the basic dynamic in our relationship. It's never been different. Am I emotional support? Boiled frog. Yes, that's what I am. I'm the boiled frog. That's what I'm saying. That this whole situation, if you start to feel sort of accepting of this situation, you're a boiled frog. I think it's okay to feel happy and satisfied once in a while, but don't fall into complacency. This is not an okay situation, particularly in California. It's not okay. Gabapentin or Lyrica for pain. I'm not a huge fan of Lyrica myself. Adam bullies everyone. That's true, Natalie. How high is the risk if somebody always had pulmonary fibrosis of getting COVID? Your risk probably is not higher, but your risk of getting complications is worse, right? So you want to protect your lungs. You have a narrower margin of safety if you get the pneumonia. Yeah, reality, not fiction. The world is upside down. Ankylosing spondylitis. I don't think ankylosing spondylitis by itself is a risk factor. It's certainly not been mentioned on the list. You think about AS is that sometimes you're getting, rheumatoid medication, and that could be one of the things we used to use for AS was hydroxychloroquine. Used it all the time. Years and years and years of people taking it, never had any problem with it. Do I think next year when all these cases recover, there'll be much more immunity? Yeah, certainly. I mean, we're building immunity all the time here. The question is how much immunity and how long. How long will it last? Okay, so you guys didn't tell me, other than Colty and Larissa, who your favorite characters are on 90 Day Fiance. I don't think they're inflating the numbers markedly, Lana. I just don't think so. I don't think that's the case. Lyrica was bad for you, Lisa. Yeah, it alters your mental status. It causes a lot of sleepiness and fatigue. Thank you, Eric. Let me maybe send in an email to drdrew.com/contact. I can send it on to Bob. Yes, that's right. Lyrica makes you sleepy. Kelly Gallagher sure does. With the 5 vaccines coming out, are there any going to be better than the others? Great question. We don't know. I personally want to support the RNA vaccine because it's a new technology, and if it's, as being a human subject, you're pushing along a new technology that could have many medical benefits to it. That Azan and Nicole, okay. Azan and Nicole, Susan, Paul, and Karina. Oh yeah, okay. So who is Susan? Who is Azan and Nicole? Was that the Australian guy?
I don't know.
Angela and Michael. Okay, you guys are all. Please comment on Darcy on 90 Day Fiance. I don't know who Darcy is, Susie. Again, I'm a newcomer to. My life has only recently descended to this point where I'm in this state.
Darcy's one of the Atlanta ladies. Darcy?
Is she one of the Atlanta, the 2 women that are eating and watching all the time? I don't know. Thank you, Michael. Michael liked your appearance on Where My Mom's At, Susan.
Thank you.
She's one of the twin Darcys. Lisa, see, I don't know who that is. How bad can COVID hurt your brain cells? Well, immunological cells and neurological cells evolve from the same tissue. So they're very connected. They're very similar. And they probably communicate in ways we don't fully understand. And when things affect the immune system, like HIV, it also affects the neurological system. It does. And some people are having some chronic problems, that neurasthenia and neuropathies and all kinds of stuff, which is not surprising. Not surprising. Should we still wear masks after we get the vaccine? I won't. The vaccine, I have great confidence in. I may do it. I may do it for a few months, depending on the maximum effect of the vaccine. Kelly Gallagher, I accept your apology, and I appreciate that. I'm happy to engage in any sort of. I do accept your apology, of course. Any sort of dialogue, I may get heated too, but I will always be open to apology. And I do want to change how my brain works. So if you have things for me.
Oh, Darcy's the one with the big lips.
Darcy's the one with the big lips. Hold on. If you have things for me that you want me to do or change, or you think my thinking is off, I am always wide open to input.
You know that one.
I don't know. The sister.
Oh, the big lips.
Yeah, I can. The Jersey Girls. They are. What's RCS? How did I recover from RCS? I don't know. Lori, I'm not a big fan of spinal stimulators, but again, that's a tougher question. I'm not there with you, so I wouldn't dare to comment on your particular case. Jason, Dr. Zelenko, I'm hearing positive things. He had a major heart surgery on Thursday. I'm trying to get in touch with him now. I bet you I'll hear from him tomorrow. That would be my bet. Dr. Agus, only through the Stern Show. Is the only way I know him. So anyway, Darcy, I do know who Darcy is. And Darcy and her sister, to me, seem to have been abandoned at some time. I would say that's sort of an abandonment thing. And I feel sorry for them, and I want them to get a little therapy because they are this repetitive pattern of attracting themselves to abandoning men is a terrible cycle to get into. That's the best I can do for them. Kratom is a mild opiate, but some people, if you're not an addict, that could be a useful thing sometimes. What's that? Wrap this up. I'm not getting tired with you guys because I'm feeling some purpose today. I'm feeling purposeless all day. You're getting tired, Susan. Okay, we need to get going. All right, we're gonna go home so we can watch 90 Day Fiance. Are me and Howard Stern okay? Maddie, I don't think he thinks of me, so I don't know. Mark Maron is having another loss. I feel that's terrible, Kelly. I'm sorry to hear that. Kelly had his girlfriend died this year. I think people know. Now his cat is dying. That's awful. Mark is one of I had deep admiration for Mark. Cognitive distortion. Okay. You may be minimizing what you're accomplishing right now because it's not as rewarding as it was. Barb, I appreciate that feedback. That may be a cognitive distortion, or it may not be. I'm glad I can help some people, so that's good news. And maybe my distortion is the magnitude of my feeling of worthlessness and that sort of thing. Yeah. I listen, Brian. Go suggest that. I'll host those little weird reunions they have. You just hit the camera, so I don't know what happened there. All right, we got to get out of here. Susan's losing it. We're gonna get out. Thank you all. I feel better. I feel purposeful. I feel like I've.
Still feel like shit?
No, I don't. Do you still feel like shit?
Jay Moore is very excited to see you tomorrow.
Jay Moore's coming in tomorrow. We're excited to see him. Again, we're going to talk to Tyrus on Wednesday with those two wrestlers that are running for office. They're going Matt and Dan are going to try to get me to join them. And then I'm going to try. I want you all to tweet at First Lady of Love to convince her to do a Pillow Talk episode in real time tonight while we watch. Tweet her to convince her. And I'll
next week.
I'll
I
stay.
need time to set it up.
Okay, we'll see. Well, it's not gonna. It's gonna be taped then. It's not gonna be. We will already have seen it then.
We'll watch the next one.
We'll watch the next one. We'll watch one of them. All right. But tweet her anyway. I'm sure she'd appreciate that. I feel better because I got to interact with you guys. She didn't get that benefit of connecting. So I appreciate it. Appreciate y'all being here. You ready to wrap it up, Susan?
Yeah, hold on 1 second.
I'll try not to be the drunk uncle who goes for the door 30 times before leaving. I will try to leave now. And if you ready, here we go. See you tomorrow.